his name on any harm. Cause snakes play and fakes lay like hidden bombs. We march in unison. The soul is truer than eternal missions with just
a lifetime to do it, and it's just one lifetime that we have, folks, as far as I'm concerned. And through that lifetime, I feel like we should stand for something. We should stand for the truth. And when there are secret cabals meeting and into the exact opposite of what they claim to be into in the public, it's time to expose them. It's time to let the world know that these people do have something else in mind for us, that they aren't what they seem. And before I go to this Colbert clip on the Grove, I did find what I was looking for over here in the book, in the annal. And up top here, you have a picture of George H.W. Bush before he's the president of the United States with his father. And there he is next to Newt Gingrich. Remember, he's a big Christian conservative. He doesn't go to the Bohemian Grove Club. Yeah, right. I mean, he's right there, but he'll deny it. But here's the interesting one. Here, I'll just move this up here. I was talking about the news reporter. Now, this guy is obviously a political cartoonist. His name is Farley. I look him up. I'd like to know his background. I don't quite know it that well. But there he is as a reporter. You see, here he is. He's reporting the news. He's got his little sketch pad. He's got his little newsy hat. He's the newsman. But what's he thinking about? He's a member of the Bohemian Grove. There he is in his little cloak and his little candle, and this symbolizes the cremation of care. Now, I don't know what he's talking about, but I think it's a pretty revealing picture. I gotta tell you, I do enjoy that clip. I mean, he goes pretty far in it. I mean, is he making fun of it? Yes, but at the same time, he's not saying it doesn't exist. He is showing certain portions of it. I wish he had showed a picture like this. He showed one of the older school pictures of the cremation of care ritual, but if you look at this one, I mean, it's in color. You can see the real pageantry, the real detail in this occultic ceremony. And you can see the owl with all the moss grown on it. That's actually hollowed out as well. I mean, that's one of their centers. So, again, and here's another, low jinx picture. I'm going to bring it right up into the mix, to show the cross-dressing that goes on. I mean, full drag right there. And it's very bizarre to me. It's very bizarre that these powerful individuals want to dress up in this fashion anyway, but then they would choose to do so in such a way. I mean, it's just very weird to me. I mean, look at this guy. I mean, he's dressed up with, looks like some kind of a Catholic pontiff, and I don't know if it's the Knights Templar behind him, but some kind of knights. And then, I mean, there's that one. And then right here, you have another gentleman who's talking to a skull. And obviously it's a real human skull. I mean, why are they doing these things? What is the point? All right, let's take some calls. Anything you want to talk about. I know I've missed the news for the past week. There's only a few stories out there that I've really paid any attention to, usually the headlines over in Yahoo when I was checking my email and whatnot. The number to call is 888-201-2244. That's 888-201-2244 or 512-646-1776. That's 512-646-1776. Alice in California. Alice, you're on the line.
Hi, Jason. I just wanted to bring it to people's attention that we are being under attack by poison in our water and our skies and the squalene and the adjuvants that are in these new vaccines that the government says that they want to force the vaccines. But now, NLE are not taking off tomorrow, and they say that they're going to start with a terrorist-like event outside the United States. They could use that as a pretense to lock down schools and office buildings and stadiums and such. And I think it would be very naive of them to forcibly vaccinate us that way. But it is a possibility.
Well, what I think they're doing with NLE09 is they're setting up the infrastructure for something like that. I don't think that everybody's going to be vaccinated over the next week. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to declare a national emergency. But what I do think they're doing is they're getting the organizations ready to work with the military and our national security apparatus and even outside nations for these types of programs. Again, everything we do is being tracked, traced, and databased through a computer or through a cell phone. You're on a cell phone. They know who you call. They can record your conversations. They can access your cell phone when it's off. All that has to be done is the battery needs to be in it. Just in the very beginning of June, now a month and a half ago, the appellate court said, you know what? You can't go after AT&T and these other communication companies that have built a secret room where they funnel in all the information of those who use the internet, all the IP addresses that you've gone to, all the searches, all the files on your computer. And it's very unfortunate to me. And then as far as what's in the water, I mean, you look at mainline sources and you can't, I mean, they find Prozac in the water. They find high levels of mercury. They're finding barium in the skies. Yeah, it's very bad. I'm not going to lie. And that's why it's so important that people out there get a Cola Blue or a Berkey. And that doesn't even stop all of it. You got to remember, it's not just the drinking water. Every time you take a shower, your body is taking in these toxicities and these heavy metals. It's a soft kill. You know, they talk about population control. That's their game. It's in Endgame, folks. Please go check out Endgame.
That's why people should, join me or, talk to their local groups, post posters, and, get the people to become aware, because we need to learn to be self.
Yeah, I agree. Like Gandhi said, we have to be the change that we want to see in the world, and just shutting up and acting like this isn't important is not the way to go. I thank you for the call. Interesting side story. Rosalind Peterson's 94-year-old mother was at the forefront to keep, I think they're in Lake County, California, but they were trying to put fluoride in the water some years back, and they said no. They also stopped a nuclear power plant from coming into town. So she comes from a long line of activists, and Rosalind had so much documentation on geoengineering and weather warfare and all these separate programs, these drills that are coming up. Again, we're going to have her on next week to talk about these latest Navy drills that are going to be going on in September of this year unless we stop them now. So many important issues to cover here on the Info Warrior and the Alex Jones Show. Jonathan in Massachusetts. Jonathan, you're on the line.
Hey, how you doing, Jason?
Good.
Hey, I was just calling. AT&T, it's a little bit off topic from what you were just talking about, but AT&T is currently censoring a couple of websites online, and there's a bunch of people right now who are upset about online content.
Now, for those that don't know, AT&T has just launched this new package where they're offering DSL service and DVR service. I believe it's called Uverse, right?
Yep, that's right. That's correct.
Yeah, and Uverse is kind of a startup. It's only really starting to hit big cities in the last couple of months. But you're telling me that they're blocking certain IPs?
Yes, and to certain websites. For example, in California, Chicago, and it's been confirmed in Canada. I have no idea if AT&T is in Canada, but they're blocking this website. It's actually quite a radical website. It's called 4chan. I don't advise anyone really to go there.
Mm-hmm. But, what kind of a radical website? I mean, you can say it on there.
Well, I mean, they just post a bunch of random stuff. It's a decent site. It's known for a bunch of things, but there's a lot of people there. You must post anonymously, so on and so forth. But if you Google 4chan AT&T, you should see it.
All right, I'll check that out. I mean, it doesn't shock me, seeing as AT&T were the ones named in this lawsuit, Hepting versus AT&T, as the main communication company that was working with the National Security Agency to, again, track, trace, and database every single thing you do on your computer and your cell phone. So not a shocker. Before I go to Jesse in California, I mentioned earlier that during the cremation of care, death rose up on a boat and gives them an effigy of a baby, which they then sacrifice in front of Moloch, this 30-foot, 40-foot stone owl god. Well, here is Death. This is what he looks like. He gets in a big black robe. They paint up his face pretty hardcore. And that's the person that rides right in. This is Afterglow, Cremation Boatman, and Tom Smokey McRae. You see, he's Death on a boat, the Grim Reaper. I could buy the Affliction T-shirt to represent it, but we've all seen it. I believe it was also in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Death comes rowing in on a boat. And where do we get these ideas and rituals from? It seems to be these mystery schools, these Babylonian philosophies, these pagan beliefs. And really what they're doing is an amalgamation of all these things. You know what? While I'm taking this next call, why don't you hit another video clip off of the Bohemian? You know what? Let's go to Hearst Castle. Pick one in the middle. I know I've got like 35 different videos in there. Just pick a random middle Hearst Castle. I want people to see this because I may not be able to go over all this stuff as I take calls, but I do want people who are watching the PrisonPlanet.tv show to see what some of the members deck their own homes out in. And this Hearst Castle was massive. I mean, it was a huge land plot. There were 5 different tours. I decided to take the outdoor tour because it was really hard to get good video shots inside. They wouldn't let you have flash photography, and obviously I couldn't mount a light on my camera. They would have frowned upon that. But the stuff that's just outside and the few rooms inside I could go to were just reeked of occult knowledge. Again, Poseidon, lots of Baphomet stuff of goats. Pan had a big statue with a couple of women that I was able to film. So I really do want to show that to everybody as I go through these calls as well.